Welcome to the 6th lecture on centrifugal compressors. In this session, we will consider a numerical problem along with some important concepts of like degree of reaction and then the velocity triangle of the compressor when backward curved vanes are used, etc. We will discuss. The problem is this: a centrifugal compressor running at 1440 rpm, that is the rotational speed in rpm, the capital N, handles air at 101 kilopascal, that is inlet static pressure, and 20 degrees Celsius, that is inlet static temperature, and isentropically compresses it to a pressure of 6 bar. So the pressure of compressed air coming out of the compressor is 6 bar. Isentropically compresses. So we need to consider isentropic compression, an ideal case. The inner and outer diameters of the impeller are 14 centimeters and 28 centimeters respectively, that is capital D1 and capital D2. The width of the blade at inlet is 250 mm, that is capital B1. So as in the case of centrifugal pump, we considered width of the impeller at inlet and outlet B1, B2. So here the inlet width, that is B1, is given 250 mm. The blade angles are 16 degree and 40 degrees at the entry and exit. The blade angles are given, or vane angles. We used to denote it by theta and phi. Inlet, it is theta, that is 16 degree, and outlet vane angle or blade angle is phi, that is 40 degrees given. But whenever these vane angles are specified like this, we need to consider that the vanes are curved, not radial bladed impeller, because in an ideal case for a radial bladed impeller, the vane angle at outlet is 90 degree. Even though due to slip factor in actual practice VR2 inclination is slightly altered. So whenever the vane angles are specified, we need to consider the blades are curved, but whether it is forward curved or backward curved. Considering the RPM of 1440, we may consider that it is backward curved, it is slightly lower, it is low speed impeller when you consider centrifugal compressors. Calculate the mass flow rate, that is m dot. We need to find out degree of reaction. So we will introduce now degree of reaction, capital R. We will find out power input to the compressor, that is work done per second, we need to find out, and width of the blades at outlet, that is width of the impeller blades, capital B2 at outlet, that is B2, we need to find out. So we will consider the data given one by one. Now we have the speed of the impeller N is equal to 1440 and the 1440 RPM. The diameters at inlet and outlet are given. So capital D1 inlet, that is 14 centimeters, that is equal to 0.14 meter. Capital D2 outlet dia of the impeller, that is 28 centimeters, that is equal to 0.28 meters. Of course, using the diameters and the RPM, you can now find out the tangential velocity of the blade or impeller at inlet and outlet. So U1 and U2, the peripheral speed of the impeller. So U1 is equal to pi D1 n by 60. So you can find out. So that is pi into diameter. Inlet is 0.14 and RPM is 1440 divided by 60. So you can find out U1, and U1 in this case you will get U1 as 10.556. So 10.55, approximately 10.556 meter per second. Okay, so this is U1. Similarly, you can find out the tangential or peripheral speed of the vane or the blade, or even you can say runner impeller at outlet, that is U2. that is equal to pi d2 n by 60, n by 60, and that is equal to pi into diameter 0.28, that is twice the diameter of the impeller at inlet, 0.28 into 1440 divided by 60. So this is obviously, this you will get twice the tangential speed at the inlet. So it is 21.112. So you are getting 21.112 meter per second. So this is your U2. See, once you have these values U1 and U2, now we'll proceed to the other information. So we have some thermodynamic aspects also, like inlet static pressure P1 is 101 kilopascal. So that is equal to inlet conditions, inlet static pressure in Pascal it is 101 into 10 raised to 3 Pascal or Newton per meter square. And inlet static temperature T1, that is also available. Let's use 20 degrees Celsius. So that is 20 plus 273, that is 293 Kelvin. So inlet static temperature and pressure are available. The width of the blade at the inlet is 250 mm. So we write capital B1, that is 250 mm, that is equal to the width of the impeller at inlet is 0.25 meter. Now we will consider the mass flow rate. So the mass flow rate we have to find out. So in order to obtain mass flow rate, we require the density of air at inlet and outlet of the compressor. So let the density at inlet be ρ1. So we can find out the density from the characteristic gas equation for ideal gases. So PV is equal to MRT, where V is the volume, and P is equal to M by V into RT, and M by V is the density. So P is equal to rho RT, and rho is equal to P by RT. So P by RT is the equation now to find out density. So ρ1 is equal to P1 by RT1, suffix 1 representing the inlet condition. So what is P1? P1 is 101. In Pascal we will substitute 101 into 10 raised to 3 Pascal divided by characteristic gas constant for air, it is 287 joule per kilogram Kelvin. If it is not given, please assume that characteristic gas constant or specific gas constant of air as a perfect gas, the value is 287 joule per kilogram Kelvin into temperature T1 is 293 Kelvin. 293 Kelvin. So in appropriate units, if you substitute, the density is equal to, you will get the density as 1.201 kilogram per meter cube, density of air at inlet to the compressor. So please verify the calculation. Now the next, similarly we have to get the density of air at outlet also. But in order to get that, we require to know the pressure and temperature of air at the outlet. But in this case, pressure is known, the pressure is 6 bar, pressure, outlet pressure is available, P2 is equal to, see here in the question it is available in the second sentence, that is 6 bar. So P2 is equal to 6 bar, that is equal to 6 into 10 raised to 5, 1 bar is 10 raised to 5 Pascal or Newton per meter square. Then density ρ2 is equal to P2 divided by RT2. So we require the pressure and temperature, but here we don't have the temperature, we have the pressure. So for that purpose we take the help of this part isentropic compression. See, in the second sentence it is given that here the air is compressed isentropically. So we consider the isentropic compression. Just consider 1 to 2. See, normally while deriving the expressions we used 1, 3 as the process, because we needed to connect the first stage as impeller and the second stage as diffuser. So here we will connect from inlet to the outlet directly. So therefore, at the inlet to the impeller or inlet to the compressor, state point is 1. At the outlet of the compressor or outlet to the diffuser, so I denote the condition or that thermodynamic state by 2. So therefore, we take 1 to 2 instead of 1 to 3. 1 to 2 isentropic compression. Isentropic compression, connect the pressure and temperature ratio by using isentropic compression. When a perfect gas undergoes isentropic compression, it follows PV raised to gamma is equal to constant, and using characteristic gas equation and this pressure volume relationship and eliminating volume, we will get the relationship between pressure ratio and temperature ratio. So we know very well, just I don't want to derive that, but the relation is pressure in terms of temperature. You need to find out the temperature, therefore I will write T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 raised to gamma minus 1 by gamma. So this is the relation connecting the pressure ratio and temperature ratio in an isentropic process. Gamma for air is 1.4. So you can substitute. Now in this case, the temperature T2 we do not know, but we know what is T1, static temperature at inlet, that is 293 Kelvin. Pressure P2 is 6 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal. Then P1 is 101 into 10 raised to 3 Pascal. Gamma is 1.4. So please substitute the values and obtain the static temperature at outlet. So T2 is equal to this T1 multiplied by P2 by P1 raised to gamma minus 1 by gamma. So in this way, substitute all these values. Gamma is 1.4 for air, P2 and P1 we know, T1 static temperature at inlet 293, so T2 you will get. So the value of T2, so you will get 487.486 Kelvin. So this is the temperature at the outlet, so T2. So once you have T2, you substitute, come back to the density expression, rho 2 is equal to P2 by RT2, and that is equal to P2 is 6 into 10 raised to 5 divided by characteristic gas constant 287, and the temperature just now we found out 487.486. So once you use it, you will get the density of air at outlet. So that is the density, you will get 4.289 kilogram per meter cube. So when the pressure increased from nearly 1 bar to 6 bar here the density increased from 1.201 kilogram per meter cube to 4.289 kilogram per meter cube. More than 3 times the density has increased. So by using the density and density at inlet and outlet and the other values we calculated, now we will proceed and find out the velocity components using the velocity triangles. And now we have to consider the velocity triangle for backward curved vanes. So impeller in this case, so this impeller is rotating in this direction indicated, that is in the clockwise direction. So this, I have taken one of the veins and drawn here. See, this vein is approximately like this. You should not be confused, because this is the shape. This is the shape we have. This is the one for the backward curved vein. The veins are curved against the direction of rotation. I mean, considering the direction of rotation, veins are curved back. Curved back. So it's like this. It is rotating in the clockwise direction, and the vein is opposite to that, the curved opposite to the direction of rotation at the outlet tip. So this is inlet tip 1, outlet tip 2, and here we have the velocity triangle. And if you recall, the velocity triangle we studied in the case of centrifugal pump, it is almost exactly the same. So you are familiar with that. If you are familiar with that, then the problem is going to be very easy for you. So this is the outlet, at the outlet side. Let me consider the inlet velocity triangle first. It is obviously the very same as in the case of the radial bladed impeller. So I need not repeat that now. So you just consider the inlet circle representing the circle representing the inlet of the impeller. So this is that circle. See what I am shown over here, the part of the circle, and inlet tip is 1, and the air is entering. So air has to enter tangentially to the blade surface at the tip. That is, it should follow the vane angle. This angle theta is given. Theta is 16 degree, or vane angle or blade angle at inlet. It is 16 degree given. So the vane angle, this theta is marked over here. So the relative velocity is tangential to the surface at the at point 1, blade surface at the tip 1. So this is the case. So we have 1, and already you know that the actual flow is along, the flow velocity at inlet is axial, as is axially entering. So that's how it is shown, and we are familiar with it. I need not repeat the very same concept again and again. So this V1, so V1 is the axial velocity, so velocity of flow, and we know that since the flow is axial, the tangential velocity of the fluid at inlet is 0. So VW1 is 0. So VW1 is 0, and alpha, what is that? Guide vane angle or guide blade angle at inlet is 90 degree. And since the flow is axial, so absolute velocity must enter along the axis, so means parallel to the axis, axial direction. So it's like this it is. So therefore it is in a different plane compared to this outlet velocity triangle. In our lecture number 2 we have explained this properly. So V1 is axial, and U1 is the tangential to the impeller circle in the sense circle representing the impeller, that is this tip. See, at this tip you are considering, you know it. So U1 already we found out that value pi d1n by 60. So U1 we know, and angle theta we know, theta is 16 degrees, and this is a simple right triangle. VW1, world component of velocity at inlet, or tangential velocity of the fluid at inlet, tangential velocity of the fluid, not tangential velocity of the blade or impeller. That is there, that is U1. So VW1 is 0. So V1 has no component in the direction of U1. That is the idea. So once you have this U1 and theta, definitely now you can find out V1. Because if you take tan theta from this small right triangle, so it's shown over here. So for the examination purpose you may draw like this also. So the inlet tip is shown separately, the triangles at inlet and exit are separated. So here we have the triangle. So theta is the inlet vane angle, and U1 we know the value 10.556 meter per second, and if you take tan theta is opposite side by adjacent side, that is V1 by U1. And V1 incidentally is equal to what? Vf1 itself. That axial flow velocity component at inlet is equal to the absolute velocity of the air at inlet. VW1 world component is 0 and alpha is 90. So please do remember these important points whenever you deal with the inlet velocity triangle. So tan theta is equal to V1 by U1, and V1 you can find out, of course, from this. And let me consider this case also, the outlet velocity triangle. The outlet velocity triangle, see the outlet tip is curved backward, so the air coming out of the impeller blade, so we'll take this path. This path is actually what? So it is it is tangential to the blade surface, not the circle, tangential to the blade surface at the point 2. So it is like this is VR2. And what about the direction of U2? So if you draw this, see, for that purpose I have completed this radius drawn at the tip 2. So this if the center of the impeller is represented by O2 is the radius, and if you draw a line perpendicular to that will indicate the direction of U2. So once you draw VR2, draw a line parallel to the tangential direction to the circle representing the impeller at the outlet. So that is this direction. So parallel to this, if you draw, this will be U2. And then U2 is obviously more than U1. How do you know that? Because diameter at outlet is more, N is 1440, so the diameter, so you know that U2, the value we found out, U2 is twice U1 in this case. The diameter of outlet is twice the diameter at the inlet in our case given. So therefore obviously the U2 we found out, U2 has to be more because diameter is more than, D2 is more than D1. For the impeller speed N 1440, U2 we found out, U2 is what is that, 21.112 something meter per second, and VW2 is world component of velocity is there. So this, see, just consider this diagram, VR2 we know, U2 we know, and then V2 will be the resultant of VR2 and U2. So that the V2 will be like this. So that means absolute velocity of air coming out of the impeller takes this path. It goes to the diffuser and then finally discharged. So we know that. So this is VR2, this is U2, and this is V2. So triangle is closed. And if you draw the radius, extend the radius like this, and wherever it meets U2, this component, this is the flow component of velocity, that is along the radius now. The flow component VF2 is not axial, it is radial. So VF2 is along the radius, and that is perpendicular to the tangential direction. And VF2, so if you consider two components of velocity V2, one in the direction of radius means radial direction, and one in the direction of U2, that is direction of U2, that component is world component. So we have V2 split into two rectangular components, VF2 and VW2. The resultant is V2. So V2 is split into two components, one normal and one tangential. So that is VF2, it is velocity of flow, that is, I repeat, that is in the radial component of velocity here, and VW2 is the tangential component of velocity. Tangential component of velocity of the fluid. So VW2, and this is the triangle. For example purpose, you can draw like this, and showing the outlet tip, and then showing the tangential direction of motion of the vane at outlet U2, and then VF2, and all these components. Now from this, can you please find out what is tan phi? The tan phi, that is the vane angle at outlet, is tan phi, the angle which the relative velocity makes with the direction of U2. So that tan phi is equal to what? From this small right triangle, this is VF2 divided by what is this distance? Base, V opposite side by adjacent side. What is this adjacent side? It is U2 minus VW2. So that is this one. Either you take the sin phi, tan phi, or suitable trigonometric relations. You can, of course, you find out the other components. But in this problem, we require VR2, we require V2, and these values all. We know these values. That's why I am telling you VW2 especially, and VF1 and VF2. See, there is a comment. Usual cases, VF2, velocity of flow at inlet, and velocity of flow at outlet, you can consider them to be equal unless otherwise specified. So VF1 and VF2 can be equal. So therefore, once you find V1, that is equal to VF1, remember that is axial flow component at inlet, not radial, but VF2, that is a radial flow component at outlet, the VF2, that is equal to VF1. So definitely you can find out, you can get the value of VF2. Once you find V1, that is equal to VF1, and VF1 is equal to VF2. So now let us proceed. So proceed and find out the remaining part of the the solution. So you take, see please take now tan phi from the inlet velocity triangle. So what is tan phi is equal to? Tan phi is equal to V1 divided by U1. And what is V1? V1 is equal to U1 tan phi. And U1, the value of U1 you know, that is 10.556. 10.556 multiplied by tan phi is tan 16, and you will get the value of V1. So V1 is equal to 3.027 meter per second. Please verify these values. So V1 is equal to 3.20027. So definitely VF1 you know, that is equal to V1. Therefore that is equal to 3.027. So the flow component of velocities at inlet and exit, and they are equal. So if you use that condition, VF1 unless otherwise specified, VF1 is equal to VF2, that is equal to VF, and that is equal to 3.027. Now you will proceed to the outlet velocity triangle. So for the outlet velocity triangle, you take you have to get the values VF2 you know, and U2 also you know, but VW2 we require. So can you take tan phi? So tan phi, angle phi, that is tan 40. Phi is equal to 40. Tan phi is equal to what? Opposite side VF2 divided by adjacent side. So the adjacent side is this small part. What is that? The adjacent side here, adjacent side is for tan phi, if we consider one portion of that outlet velocity triangle. So I explained to you already, VF2 divided by U2 minus VW2. So if you use this relation, so VW2 you know, and U2, the value of U2 you have, and tan phi, what is that? Phi is equal to 40 degree. So phi is equal to 40 degree, VF2 is equal to 3.027 meter per second, then U2 is equal to 21.112 meter per second. The only unknown is VW2. Cross multiply and obtain the value, cross multiply and obtain the value of this one now, obtain the value of VW2. So if you find out VW2 you will get something like this. Let us not waste time over that. So let me tell you, VW2 the same way as I explained, if you calculate, VW2 will be equal to 17.505 meter per second. See, please verify this answer. 17.505. Once you substitute U2, VF2 and angle phi here in this relation for tan phi, you will get VW2. So we have VW2 also. Now we will proceed and try to get the other values as well, because we require later on to find out the degree of reaction. We may require the value of VR2 also. So we have to find out VR2 also, VR2 in this case from the outlet velocity triangle. See, meanwhile we proceed and find out the first part of the solution. The first part is mass flow rate. You need to find out. How do you find out? M dot. M dot is equal to the density rho into volume flow rate. See, volume flow rate, I am not using V because we use velocity. For velocity we use V. So I will write volume flow rate in words. Normally we call it discharge and all. So rho into volume flow rate. So there are two options. Either you may consider inlet condition, outlet condition to arrive at M dot. And M dot is essentially, you have to consider compressor as a steady flow device, and this will be a constant. M dot 1 or M dot 2, that will be equal, inlet and outlet. Whatever is coming in, that flow rate, mass flow rate will will be delivered out. So therefore, rho into inlet condition, if you use it, is rho 1 into volume flow rate. How do you find out volume flow rate? It is, volume flow rate is area of flow. So area of flow at inlet, area of flow, let me write AF file, right? It is a typical one. So I'll write AF1 into VF1, AF1 into VF1. That is it. For this kind of device, for centrifugal pump and all, we used, and even in the case of Francis turbines also we used this kind of relations. Circumferential flow cases, all whatever relation we use, and we are going to use the same. And what is AF1? So AF1, just like a cylindrical drum, the circumferential area you calculate, so it will be pi d1 b1, pi db, curved surface area of the cylindrical portion. So pi d1 b1, we normally say 2 pi rh and all. So that's the very same thing. Instead of the height and all, here you have the breadth or width of the impeller. At inlet it is pi d1 b1, AF1, and area of flow at outlet, it is equal to pi d2 b2, pi d2 b2. So you can calculate, see, out of which one part you can calculate even now. What is that? Pi d1 b1, pi d1 b1 is available. And mass flow rate, the same mass flow rate, the relation can be written as, what is that? Rho 2 into what? The volume flow rate at outlet. So that is equal to area of flow at outlet, AF2, into velocity of flow at outlet, VF2. VF1 incidentally is equal to VF2. So what is that relation? It is rho 2 into pi d2 b2, pi d2 b2 VF2 is the relation. So mass flow rate, so please remember this relation, it's important for you. So mass flow rate in terms of the outlet values, it is density rho 2, then pi d2 b2 is the flow area at outlet into velocity of flow at outlet. So that is the mass flow rate at outlet. Then mass flow rate based on the inlet condition is your rho 1 into area of flow at inlet, it is pi d1 b1 into VF1. VF1 is equal to VF2, you know. Now we'll find out the mass flow rate. So the mass flow rate m dot is equal to, based on the inlet conditions now, rho 1 into the flow area, that is pi d1 b1, then flow velocity, that is Vf1. F1 in fact is equal to Vf2, we know it. So rho 1 we calculated 1.201, then into pi into diameter at inlet is 0.14 meter, 14 centimeters, that is, into the breadth or width of the impeller at inlet, that is 25 centimeters, 250 mm, that is 0.25 meters. Then into velocity of flow, we found out, in fact V1 is equal to Vf1, that is 3.027. Axial flow velocity at inlet is Vf1. So this, if you calculate, it's coming around 0.3998, so it's approximately 0.4 kilogram per second. So this is an answer. Mass flow rate through the compressor based on inlet condition or outlet condition. If you calculate, both of them will be or should be same. Mass flow rate is constant when you introduce compressor as a steady flow device. Then now also we have the outlet condition. If you use, what is the outlet condition now? M dot, same M dot is equal to rho 2 into pi d2 b2 and Vf2. Vf2 is equal to Vf1, and rho 2 we calculated, and it's around 4.289 kilogram per meter cube into pi into diameter at the outlet of the impeller, that is 0.28 meter, into the breadth we have to calculate, this is the unknown, into velocity of flow is 3.027. So if you do this, the mass flow rate you can substitute over here, that is 0.4. So you calculate the width of the impeller at outlet or width of the impeller blade at outlet, so that you will get 0.035 meter. So that is 35 into 1000, that is 35 mm. So this is also the part of the answer. So we obtained the mass flow rate and also the width or breadth of the impeller at outlet. Now we have to deal with a very important topic, that is degree of reaction. So now we will consider degree of reaction. So in the case of turbines, we introduced this topic already, but let me repeat the concept. Degree of reaction usually denoted by R. It's not characteristic gas constant. This is degree of reaction. So this, for a reaction turbine, degree of reaction is greater than 0. For an impulse machine, the degree of reaction will be 0 theoretically. So degree of reaction, what does it mean? It is a ratio of the change in static pressure head. Change in static pressure, so we express in terms of head. So change in static pressure head divided by, here in this case for a compressor, change in static pressure head in the impeller, then during the flow through the impeller, then divided by total change, or even you can say total change in pressure. So total change in pressure head, or rather we call it change in total pressure head, that is better. So total change in total pressure head So change in static pressure head is representing actually the energy conversion, and the change in total pressure head for a rotodynamic machine that arises out of impulse action and reaction. So we have the change in static pressure head, and change in total pressure head means change in static pressure head as well as change in dynamic pressure head. So here now we will consider Euler's equation to get the corresponding expressions. So I repeat, the degree of reaction is defined as the change in static pressure head, the ratio of change in static pressure head to the change in total pressure head of the flow of air through the impeller. So therefore, for obtaining the change in static pressure head, let us consider the Euler's pressure head. Euler's, that is a total pressure head. So the total pressure, change in total pressure head when you consider, or the head impressed by the impeller on the fluid as it passes through the impeller. So HE, that is equal to, our expression is VW2. For a power absorbing device, it is VW2U2 minus VW1U1 divided by G. In terms of meters of, this is meters of flowing fluid. In our case, it is meters of air because it's an air compressor. So this VW2U2 minus VW1U1 by G is applicable for compressor or pumps. So we can use this. Rotodynamic machines in particular, we can use Euler head impressed is equal to this if it is a power absorbing device. If it is a power producing device like turbine, then it will be, we say, the condition should be reversed, inlet and outlet condition. That is, HE will be VW1U1 minus VW2U2 divided by G. But in our current case here, so here what is Euler head? Here HE is equal to, Euler head will be VW2U2 divided by G, you can write. because this is VW1, the second part here. So this we use it because VW1, world component of velocity at inlet, is 0. We know it. So for the centrifugal compressor you can use it. In general, this is the expression you have to keep in mind if it is a power absorbing device. And now we can write in terms of other components. This we can manipulate VW1U, VW2U2 and VW1U1. And if you write a general expression, then this HE you can find out as the sum of three terms. It's very important, representing the static and dynamic pressure heads. So we will write here now, plus the third term is this one. So we will write here. So three terms are there. The first term is V2 square minus V1 square divided by 2G. And the second term is U2 square minus U1 square divided by 2G. And the third term is VR, the order is reversed, that is VR1 square minus VR2 square divided by 2G. See, there are three terms. Sum of these three terms is equal to Euler head, which is exactly equal to VW2U2 minus VW1U1 divided by G. So what does this mean? V2 square minus V1 square by 2G. This is, let us represent it as term 1. And U2 square minus U1 square by 2G. Let us represent it as term 2. This one is term 2. And this is term 3 now. VR1 square minus VR2 square. So this is, let it be term 3. So we have three terms. Sum of these three terms. The first term implies change in dynamic pressure head and representing the impulse action. And the other two, or rather you call it energy transfer. The first term represents the energy transfer or change in dynamic pressure head, and the term 2 and 3 are representing the change in static pressure head. Together, the terms 2 and 3 together represents the change in static pressure head, representing energy conversion. Also, it is also U2 square minus U1 square by 2G is also called a change in centrifugal pressure head, and VR1 square minus VR2 square by 2G is also called change in relative velocity head, that is occurring due to the change in flow area. But so please keep this relation in mind, and for a turbine what you should do is you should reverse negative of this. That means the order should be reversed. What does it mean? Euler head for the turbine will be, or for power producing device will be, HE is equal to V1 square minus V2 square by 2G plus U1 square minus U2 square by 2G plus VR2 square minus VR1 square by 2G. See, exactly this, the order here given, the given order has to be reversed for a turbine. And this is for the pumps and compressors, rotodynamic machines. See, now you consider this expression now, degree of reaction, that is change in static pressure head divided by change in dynamic pressure head. What does it imply? Change in static pressure head means the two terms are representing the change in static pressure head collectively. Which are the terms? 2 and 3, that is U2 square minus U1 square by 2G and VR1 square minus VR2 square by 2G, that is there in the numerator, divided by change in total pressure head. What is that? 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the three terms together. That is change in dynamic pressure head as well as change in static pressure head. So that I can write total pressure head, I can write as HE. So this is equal to, so what do you get? This one is actually your U2 square minus U1 square divided by 2G plus your VR1 square minus VR2 square. This is the third term in the above expression. So this sum of these two terms representing the change in static pressure head, then divided by change in total pressure head, static and dynamic together. So let me write HE itself, that is your VW2U2 minus VW1U1 by G. So in our case, simply you can substitute HE is equal to, in our centrifugal compressor you can write VW to HE total, and you need not add all the terms together, simply you can get it, they are equal actually. HE is equal to VW to U2 divided by G. Remember, there is no 2G in this expression. So VW to U2 by G, since VW1 is 0 in this case. So this is the expression you have to use in order to find the degree of reaction. So degree of reaction for rotodynamic machines, so we defined. Now we will consider the power input to the compressor. Before finding the degree of reaction and other relative, we have to get the relative velocity components in addition to the other components we found out already. Now we will answer the power input part, power input. So how do you find out power input to the compressor? So power input to the compressor, that is work done per second. So that is mass flow rate multiplied by specific work input, you can say. So here m dot into, and the last lectures we defined the actual work input in terms, specific work input means it is available in joule per kilogram. So specific work input, actual case WS represents the shaft work. So actual, this is psi sigma U2 square, and this is for radial bladed impeller. So impeller with radial blades or radial bladed impeller. So we used this relation already, but in our current case we will use directly. You cannot use sigma U2 square because slip factor is not specified for this case. So we will use, unlike the radial bladed impeller case, here definitely here we will find out that Euler's, of course you can find out, use power input factor psi, but it is not given here. So assume that psi is equal to 1 here, and Euler work. So here we will use, remember here we will use WS as the ideal case we use. So psi is, of course, can be there, then the Euler work. So this is Euler work done. So how do you write that? It is, you can write psi into Euler work. So Euler work is equal to, in terms of joule per kg, it is nothing but psi into Euler work is VW2 U2. And what is the unit? The specific work is in joule per kilogram. Remember that. So psi into, and here you assume that psi is equal to 1. That is work input factor. Slip factor we do not use here. And exclusively that is used for radial bladed impeller. So m dot is equal to 0.4 kilogram per second. We found out, multiplied by this one, this part we use VW to U2 in this case. So m dot we calculated already 0.4 kilogram per second, and this VW to U2 part we calculate, that product will be in joule per kilogram. This will be VW to 17.505 multiplied by your U2. So your U2 is 21.112. So please check the calculation part, and in this case you will get power input, the power input as 147. It's less actually compared to the other cases we dealt already. 147 point some watts only here, hundreds of watts only. So 147.82, around this value. Please verify the calculation part. So power input, that is also the part of the answer. It is in joule per second. When you multiply kilogram per second multiplied by joule per kg, you will get joule per second. Watts is nothing but work done per second or joule per second, that is watts. So we calculated the power input also, and now we will proceed and find out the relative velocity components in order to get the degree of reaction. Values of the relative velocity if you calculate from that small right triangle at inlet. See, the inlet velocity triangle is something like this. The inlet velocity triangle, this is your VR1, this is the tip 1, let me draw that one only, this is U1, and this angle is theta, and theta is equal to 16 degree, and this one is this is your, what is that, V1, which is equal to VF1. So therefore you can easily get VR1. So VR1, you take sin theta, let us say, or tan theta, whatever. So if you take sin theta or cos theta, you can take and connect. So sin theta is opposite side is V1 divided by adjacent side, opposite side by hypotenuse, opposite side by hypotenuse is VR1. So V1, we know VF1 3.027, sin theta, sin 16. So you can easily get the value of VR1. So VR1 can be found out. Similarly, the outlet velocity triangle. See, the outlet velocity triangle, it is something like this. The triangle, if you draw in a regular manner, so it will be something like this. The tip is, so simple way you can draw. This is 2, and this, what is this? This is your VR2, and this one is your V2, and the total distance here, this is your U2, and if you draw a perpendicular to U2, that is your VF2, and this angle is phi, and this angle is beta, and this part, this much is VW2. So I need not repeat that. So this is a triangle. So easily you can find out VR2. Either you take tan phi, let us say you take tan phi. Better you take sin phi, let us say. That is easy for you, I think. Sin phi is equal to VF2, opposite side by hypotenuse is VR2. And VF2 is 3.027. And sin phi is equal to 40 degree. So if you use sin phi, sin 40 is equal to VF2 is 3.027 divided by VR2. So from that you can easily find out VR2. So if you VR1, if you calculate that, I think VR1 you will get 10 point, it will be more than VR2, 10.981 meter per second, and your VR2 will be 4.709 meter per second, and obviously you have U1, U2. So U1 is your 10.556 meter per second, and U2 is 21.112 meter per second. So of course in the formula shown earlier, if you calculate R is equal to that term, what is that, 2 plus 3 divided by 1 plus 2 plus 3. This 1 plus 2 plus 3 you need not calculate again, because this much is Euler's head, and that we calculated. What is that? It is simple, in simple terms. Instead of adding the 3, even if you calculate HE is equal to BW to U2 by G in the case of centrifugal compressor, that is okay. So we calculated. So VW2, you know, U2 you have, so HE. So H value of HE, if you calculate, this value turns out to be 37.67 meters of air. So once you have this value, then 2 plus 3, what is 2? That is U2 square minus U1 square by 2G plus 3. The term 3 is VAR1 square minus VR2 square by 2G. So if you take the sum of the sum in the numerator and denominator, so the first term is the second term, U2 square minus U1 square by 2G. If you calculate, you will get I think 17 point something. So 17.038 then that is u2 square minus u1 square by 2g. Then the third term means relative velocity part, that is vr1 square minus vr2 square by 2g, and if you calculate that, it is around 5.016. Then that divided by sum of the three terms together, what is that value? 37.67. So if you use this relation, the degree of reaction is 0.585. Either you keep it like this, or in percentage you can give. If you want to give in percentage, it is into 100. Multiply this value by 100, it is 58.5%. That is the answer. Let me summarize now. We found out all the parameters we were required to find out. We calculated the reaction, degree of reaction, it is 58.5%. The mass flow rate through the compressor, it is 0.4 kilogram per second. The width of the impeller blade at outlet, that is 35 millimeters. We calculated the power input to the compressor, that is 147.82 watts. Along with this, I would like to remind you that I made a mistake while explaining this part. Here in this velocity triangle, inlet velocity triangle, here I marked as tan phi is equal to V1 by U1 from the inlet velocity triangle. Even though I marked here it is correctly, so that is theta is the inlet vane angle. So here I have written as tan phi, and that one is tan theta. So this is, please bear with me, this is, I am sorry, this part is tan theta. So tan theta is equal to V1 by U1. It's not tan phi. This kind of problems will give you a better insight into the various aspects of centrifugal compressors. Please go through this velocity triangle and practice it very well. And these concepts are extremely important for us to proceed further. Thank you so much.